All right, welcome everybody. So this is 6.5 slope-intercept equation from 2 points. Part number 2. So we got constructing linear functions, continuing on with that. So you learn how to write a linear function in slope-intercept form when given 2 points by using the solve for b method. Last time we were able to use 2 points on a graph and then finding the equation from the graph, right? So let's say, so given 2 points, find the y-intercept and slope. So we're going to do 4, -4, right? So you have your x value, y value, and then you have your x value, y value, right? x1, y1, x2, y2. So we have our 2 points, and we're going to graph it, right? So the first one, 4, -4, it's right there. This is 4, -4. Then we have 2, -3, so write 2 down 3. All right, so that's 2, -3. And then from there, we're able to graph our line, right? So using our rise over run, follow our pattern, and we get our extra point right there, which is our y-intercept, right? And if we draw our line, we should also cross that y-intercept. So we know that our y-intercept here is equal to -2. So that's our y-intercept, -2, and it's at 0.0, -2. And then from there, we can also find our slope where we followed our rise over run. Right, so we went up 1, left 2. So 1 over -2, right? So our slope is always rise over run. So you went up 1 and -2 for our run. So it'll be -1/2. And that's our slope, -1/2. And our line is going down to the right. So you know it's going to be a negative slope. And then from our equation, right, we always compare it to y equals mx plus b. So we get y equals our m value was -1/2 next to our x. And then our y-intercept was -2, so we put -2. And that's our equation. All right, so let's look at number 2. So through 2, 4, so let's say x1, y1, x2, y2. So our pink is going to be 2, 4, so 2, 4 is right here. 2 on the x, 4 on the y, so that's 2, 4. And then 10, 20, that's going to be like way off the graph, way up here, where we cannot figure out from our graph, right, because it's too far. We don't have enough space, right? So how do we find that, right? So there must be another method that we could use, and we're going to use the solve for b method, right? So when given 2 points, is there another way to find the slope, which is rate change, and y-intercept, which is the initial value, besides using the graph? Okay, so let's split this in half, break it up. So the first one we're given 2 points, right? 4, -4, and 2, -3. The second one we're given 2, 4, and 10, 20. Okay, so let's figure this out. So given 2 points, we always have x1, y1, x2, y2, right? 2 points. And from that, we can find our slope. So our slope is given by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 was -3, and then we're going to subtract our y1, which is -4. So put parentheses around the negatives, keep our negatives straight so we don't get confused, right? And then x2, 2, minus our x1, which is 4, right there. And then we calculate that. We have -3, double negatives is going to be addition, right? 3, -3 plus 4 over 2 minus 4, that's -2. We end up with 1 over -2, which is -1/2. So this is our slope, right? Our m value. So given a slope, or given 2 points, we can find what the slope is. And we always want to get to y equals mx plus b. So we know what the slope is. So let's just write it in there, -1/2. And then we have a point, any point that we want to use. Let's use the first one, right? And we're given our y value, which is -4, because we're using 4 and -4 with the xy. So our y value is -4. Our x value is +4. And we're going to solve for b, just like last time. So we have a slope and a point. You can always solve for b. Right? So -1/2 times 4 is multiply across, right, over 1. So -1 times 4, -4, 2 times 1, 2. Bring everything else down. -4 divided by 2 is -2. Then we're going to solve, right? Add 2 to both sides. So -4 plus 2 is -2 equals b, or b equals -2. So now that we have a slope, right, and then we have a intercept, we can write it in our slope-intercept form. So it'll be y equals mx plus b, so y equals our slope, -1/2, x, and our b is -2. And now we have our equation, and it came out exactly the same as by using a graph. Okay, let's try for this one. So first one, find our slope, right, given by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then we're given our points, right, x1, y1, x2, y2. And then we find the values for that. So y2 is 20 minus our y1, which is 4. X2 is 10 minus our x1, which is 2. And then 20 minus 4, 16. 10 minus 2, 8. That's simplified, or you divide it, you get 2. So your slope is 2. And once you're given a slope, we'll use one of our points. Use the first one. And we're going to substitute that into our y equals mx plus b. So our y value is going to be 4. Our m value we calculated was 2. Our x value is 2 plus b, right, using our point, right, 2, 4, with our x, y. And we calculate 2 times 4, or 2 times 2 is 4, plus b. Subtract 4 to both sides. We get b by itself, so it'll be 0 equals b, or b equals 0. And that's our b. And then we're going to write out y equals mx plus b. So y equals our slope, 2, next to x, and our b is 0. So plus 0, but it simplifies to y equals just 2x, because 0 disappears, and you don't need it there. And that's it. So we don't actually need a graph to do this. Given 2 points, we can find the slope. Right? Given 2 points, we can find the slope. And then we can substitute our slope and one of our points, either one, both of them will work, into our y equals mx plus b to solve for our y-intercept b. And then substitute that back into our equation. Okay, so here's an example of how you can use it. So table below shows a monthly cost for attending classes at the Ohana Yoga Studio. So number of classes, so this is just like your x values. This is just like your y values, right? And you still have your x1, y1, x2, y2. And the change in y's, right? 61 minus 41 is plus 20. And then the x's, 9 minus 4 is 5, or plus 5. So you should get 20 over 5, which is our slope right here, which turns out to be m equals 4. Right? So our slope, rise over run, turned out to be 20 over 5, which is 4. And that's how we got our slope is 4. Then once we have that, we're going to substitute m equals 4 into our equation. Substitute our point, right, our x and our y, into our equation. Right, our x value goes here, y value goes there. Calculate it, and we solve for b, which is 25. And then you take that 4 and 25, 4 and 25, and then substitute that in there, 4, 25. And then once you have the equation, how much would it cost for 15 classes? So it's asking you what is f of 15. And we do 4, and instead of x, we substitute 15. Right? So 4 times 15, 60 plus 25 equals 85. So how much would it cost for 15 classes? It would be 85, and remember the units, dollars, right? So $85 in our equation. Okay, so let's do a few examples. So given 2 points, find the y-intercept and slope, then write the equation. So given 2 points, always, right? We start with our m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Then we have our x1, y1, x2, y2. And we find the slope. So y2 was 5 minus our y1, which is 2. Our x2 is 3 minus our x1 is 0. So 5 minus 3 on the top is 3. 3 minus 0 is 3 on the bottom. So our slope is 1. And then once we have our slope, we pick any point. Let's pick the first one. So we're going to use our slope and our point. And we're going to put that in y equals mx plus b. So our y value is 2. Right, our m, we calculate that to 1. Our x value of our point is 0. And plus b. Right, so we find the slope, use one of our points, and the same process like before. So we got 2 equals 1 times 0, 0, plus b, and the 0 just cancels out, right? So 2 equals b, or b equals 2. So our y-intercept b is 2. Our m is 1. So our equation, when comparing it to y equals mx plus b, is y equals 1x plus 2. And the 1 disappears, so you don't need it. It's just going to be x. So y equals x plus 2. Okay, same for number 2. We have our points again, x1, y1, x2, y2. Always write that. Then we have our slope given by y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then we plug in our numbers, right? So our y2 is 1 minus our y1, which is 2. And then our x2, which is negative 4, minus our x1, which is negative 3. And remember, put the parentheses, right? So add parentheses here. Whenever you have negative, it's a good tip. Just add a parentheses. It makes it a little bit easier. So you can confuse what is negative, what is positive. Right? So 1 minus 2 in the numerator is going to be negative 1. In the denominator, now you have negative 4 and the double negatives. So the parentheses keeps that separate, right? Double negatives will be addition, so plus 3. So you have negative 1, and a negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1 again, and that is positive 1. Right? So your slope is going to be positive 1, and then you're going to use one of your points. Just use second one. Doesn't matter. Either one will work. So y equals mx plus b, and then we choose the point. So we choose the second one, which is the y value is 1. Our m, we calculated it to be 1. Our x value is negative 4, put parentheses, right? Plus b. So we have 1 equals 1 times negative 4 is negative 4 plus b. And then we're going to solve for b. We're going to add 4. So get rid of that negative 4 on the right side. We do it to both sides. So we get 5 equals b, or b equals 5. So our b is 5, our m is 1. So our equation is y equals 1x plus 5. And again, right, we don't need that 1 there because it's a phantom 1, it disappears. So you just erase that. So y equals x plus 5. Okay, so keep in mind our steps, right? First step, we want to find what the slope is, right? So find the slope. Okay, find the slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And that's our first step, right? Find the slope using this equation. And then once we have the slope, then we just substitute it, right? So we're going to substitute M, and your point, xy, into y equals mx plus b. That's our second step. So once we have our m, we substitute it with our xy, one of our xy values, into y equals mx plus b, and then we're going to solve for b. Solve for b, that's what we did here. And then the last step, right, substitute m and b into y equals mx plus b. And that's our last step. Okay, so that is our steps. So first one, find the slope using y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Second one, once you have your slope, substitute your slope and one of your points, you can pick any one, into y equals mx plus b. And then we use those values to solve for b. And then once we have b, we substitute our m value that we found, and then our b value into y equals mx plus b. And that will give us our final equation. So given 2 points, we can always find what the equation is by finding the slope first and then finding the y-intercept. Okay, so when we go down to the word problem on the bottom, so volunteers, right? So you look at schools asking volunteers help clean up after the football game. In the first year, there were 35 participants. In the third year, there were 57 participants. So those are, again, 2 data points, right? And then given those 2 data points, we can write those out as ordered pairs and do the same process. So we have first year, 35 participants. I'm just going to put part. And that's like our first ordered pair, right? 135. Third year, right? Third year, 57 participants. That's like our second data point, right? Our ordered pair, 357. So once we give in those 2 ordered pairs, we always can find what the equation is, just like we did before. Okay, and then we can use that equation to predict future values. Like what is it at the 9th year? But first you need the equation to do that. All right, that's it. Good luck.